So I saw Megalopolis, so you don't have to. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to CakeDive's Film Club. I'm CakeDive, and I hope y'all are doing well because we are doing a very special episode talking about Francis Ford Coppola's new movie, Megalopolis, which has just come out. I had the chance of seeing it early, and my friends, my ooms, have been asking me a lot of questions, so I thought, why don't I do a quick little video talking about it? So, Megalopolis, plot wise, doesn't make sense because there's a lot of different plot lines, but I'm going to try to explain it for y'all as short as possible. Basically, Adam Driver's character, Caesar Catalina, is a designer slash architect who is trying to build a utopia city called Megalopolis within a fictionalized version of America called New Rome. His attempts at building this new utopia are actively being thwarted by two people. The current mayor of New Rome, played by Carlo Esposito, who wants to keep things the way it was and very much questions the ideals of utopia, and Caesar's cousin, played by Shia LaBeouf, who basically wants to just get revenge on his cousin and is trying to build his political prowess just because he wants to. And that's basically the major plot point of this film. There's a love story in between, and there's also another plot point that features Aubrey Plaza as a character named Wild Platinum, who is trying to get money and is actively conning the Catalina family. But those are all kind of the major plot points in this film. Let me talk about the good that I saw with this film. A film like Megalopolis is a film that we really don't get anymore, especially in theaters. So I think that alone is something that I feel like a lot of people who even dislike this film still can give props to and marvel at. And also giving props to the fact that this film was self-financed and is like a multi-million dollar film being self-financed by one of the prestigious directors of our time who is still a very controversial old white man. That being said, additionally, some of the other things that I liked is that some of the plot points, especially I feel like the love story and the ability and Caesar's ability to like navigate and like stop time was very interesting to me when they utilized it properly. And it came off almost as if like Francis wanted to create, which Francis did want to create sort of a Roman fable. And it came off almost, not even like a Roman fable, but almost came off like Shakespearean almost. Like it had that level of like airiness to it with a simple plot line, with certain other plot lines also being featured within it that felt like a Shakespeare book. Like it reminded me almost like a Romeo and Juliet, like something traditional like that you would read in your English class if you're an American growing up in high school. And the other thing is I feel like a good chunk of the cast is really fun. I'm gonna give like really good. I can give my props to Adam Driver because he's a consistently good director. Not director, a really good, consistent actor. I also can give praise to Giancarlo Esposito because he's just a phenomenal actor, just as is. But seeing him in a role in which he's not playing his character off of Breaking Bad is always fun, and I think he does a good job being a very evil mayor with skeletons in the closet. And additionally, Natalie Emmanuel, who plays Julia Cicero, who is one of the love interests in this film, also does a fun job. I like her character and the development that she has throughout the story, and how, especially as she becomes a love interest. Additionally, Aubrey Plaza did a great job as well. Platinum, she brought in a lot of needed comedy into this film and made the film a lot more campier than expected. The Lawrence Fishburne was also in it. Also give props to him. Catherine Hunter also graced the screen every time she was on, and that's kind of where. Oh, and Chloe Feynman was also good. I gotta give my SNL girl a prop. Like she was fun when she had her little cameos in here. But that was pretty much it. John Voight, I have my opinions on John Voight. Don't really like him because of his politic, but there's a certain plot point in this film that is near the end of it that I think is absolutely hilarious. And then there's some other questions I gotta answer, like, oh, like, there was the thing that happened when the film was screened at, like, I think Cannes, where a person came up front during a scene and asked a question to Adam Driver's Caesar, and Caesar answered back. Do they do this in this film? Are they going to do this with the other cuts of the film? What's going to happen? And basically, during my showing, the Ultimate IMAX experience, they and I might put a picture up on the screen for um, my YouTube viewers. But basically, they like cut the scene down so it appeared near like the bottom of the auditorium where someone could pop up on stage, especially in an IMAX, especially in an IMAX theater where most auditoriums will have sort of a center stage, and they raised the upper lights of the auditorium up. And, while someone in my auditorium did not while an employee did not come out and ask the question during my screening, they actually used the cut of the film where the question was dubbed in through ADR. Other people's screenings that I've seen online have had people come up and ask the question. And I would assume that I feel like during IMAX showings, I think that it'll be very similar to that, where they'll cut the screen down so people can ask the question. Or like my showing, they'll have it dubbed in and have that format included. But I think for standard showings of the film, they most likely will just have the show, like the the film or the scene appear as normal. Um, and possibly just raise the lights and that's it. But I don't think they'll have anybody really come out during standard showings and ask questions like that, especially considering how this film might perform at the box office. And I gotta talk about the bad. I forgot to even talk about the bad. The film, when I praised the plot points and some of the interesting like takes that the film does, they don't make sense. Like, there's a lot of visual moments in this film that especially involved Adam Driver's Caesar that just kind of happen. They are done just, I guess, for spectacle. And like certain cases, like they're done in a very like artistic way that I think that people would enjoy or at least like marvel at. And there's other points in which it's done almost in like a inappropriate manner, in the way that it's like very jarring to the audience. And it's hard to really like understand like, oh, like how does this impact the film, like what does this mean in the grand scheme of things. And this is just something that occurs like throughout the film, really. And it kind of leaves a lot of people confused. Like, I had an audience member sitting right near me. There was a couple who like were looking at each other and like very confused, and I could hear them asking like, do you understand what's going on? They're like, I've been watching now, I'm not too sure what's going on. And that just seems to be something that will continue to occur with like the film for the rest of, its days. Like, I feel like there's going to be an audience of people who will really appreciate this film and what it represents. But there's also going to be people who are going to be like very confused, like an iPhone with a button on it, like they automatically confused. Um, and that will probably lead to a lot of people's like disappointed for it. And again, I'm not saying that this is a good movie by any means. I think that overall, like I think I liked it, but I don't think it's a good movie. Um, but I can still appreciate the things that are there, and I can still overall enjoy it for what was here, what's present, and what I could understand. And that's my thoughts on Megalopolis. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it maybe a two. It's either a 2.5 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5. In all honesty, I feel like I would recommend this to people just because like I would love to hear the conversations that people have, but overall, not too sure like if most people are gonna enjoy this. But that's my thoughts. I hope y'all enjoyed this very special episode of Cake Dive's Film Club. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube for more. And if you're listening to this on podcast platforms, love y'all so much. Be sure to subscribe. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.